Did you know that no emotion lasts longer than 90 seconds unless you feed it? That's right. The actual physiological response of any emotion naturally dissipates in just a minute and a half. Here's what happens in your brain. When an emotion triggers, your body releases a flood of chemicals. These chemicals physically course through your body and are completely flushed out within 90 seconds, unless you keep the circuit going with your thoughts. This isn't positive thinking nonsense, it's neuroscience. Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor discovered this through her research at Harvard. What keeps emotions lingering isn't the emotion itself, but the stories we tell ourselves that re-trigger the chemical response. Next time you feel anger rising, try this instead of reacting. Notice the physical sensations, maybe a tightness in your chest or heat in your face. Then simply count to 90 while breathing. Don't fight the feeling, just observe it passing through you like a wave. You'll literally feel the physical intensity subsiding as the chemicals flush out. This simple awareness gives you incredible power. You're no longer at the mercy of emotional storms because you understand their temporary nature. This is the foundation of emotional regulation that most people never learn. Emotions are like weather systems. They always pass if you don't fight against them. We've all had that moment when we snapped at someone, then regretted it seconds later. That's the 90-second rule in action. By the time you realize what happened, the actual emotion has already begun to fade. You know how we blame our feelings for our actions? Sorry I yelled. I was just angry. That's like blaming the rain for the fact that you chose not to bring an umbrella. Your emotions don't make your decisions, but they sure are convincing salespeople. Chapter 1. Cognitive Reframing. What if I told you that disappointment isn't caused by what happens to you, but by the gap between what you expected and what occurred, and that you have the power to close that gap? Cognitive reframing is a psychological technique that changes how you view a situation without changing the situation itself. Our brains are prediction machines constantly creating expectations. When reality doesn't match those expectations, we experience disappointment, anger, or sadness. Reframing doesn't mean pretending everything is wonderful. It means adjusting your perspective to see the situation more accurately, with less catastrophic thinking and more possibility. Let's say you didn't get a promotion you wanted. The catastrophic frame is, I'm a failure. I'll never advance. A reframed perspective might be, this is one setback in my career journey. What specific feedback can I get to improve my chances next time? Notice how one perspective closes doors while the other opens them. Reframing transforms paralyzing disappointments into actionable challenges. It's not positive thinking. It's accurate thinking that acknowledges difficulty while maintaining agency. The frame you put around a problem determines whether you can solve it. We've all had that moment where something initially devastating later turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Reframing lets you access that perspective when you need it most, not years later. Our brains are like overly dramatic movie directors. You got criticized in a meeting? Cue the tragic music, your career is over. Meanwhile, everyone else in the meeting has already forgotten and moved on to thinking about lunch. Chapter 2. The Emotional First Aid Kit. We prepare first aid kits for physical injuries. But what about emotional ones? What if you had personalized tools ready for when anxiety, sadness, or overwhelm strike? An emotional first aid kit is a personalized collection of strategies, activities, and reminders that you prepare in advance to help during emotional distress. The key is building it when you're feeling well, not during a crisis. Your kit should address your specific emotional triggers and contain multi-sensory interventions. Things you can see, hear, touch, and do that interrupt emotional spirals and activate your parasympathetic nervous system. Let's create a basic kit. First, identify your most common emotional challenges, like anxiety or self-doubt. For each, select a physical action, like 10 jumping jacks, a sensory element, like a specific scent, a cognitive intervention, like a mantra or specific question, and a social component, like texting a supportive friend. Store these as notes in your phone, along with reminders of past challenges you've overcome. This proactive approach transforms how you experience difficult emotions. Instead of being blindsided, you're prepared with customized tools that actually work for your unique brain. Emotional preparation isn't paranoia, it's wisdom. Think about how often you hear people say, I don't know what to do when I feel this way. This is the universal struggle we rarely discuss: how to practically handle our emotions in the moment. Your brain during the crisis is like a toddler at a birthday party who just found the candy stash, completely hyped up and incapable of making reasonable decisions. Your emotional first aid kit is the responsible adult who steps in and says, okay, that's enough sugar for today. Chapter 3: Breaking Rumination Cycles. Have you ever tried to stop thinking about something, only to find yourself thinking about it even more? This mental quicksand has a name: rumination, and there's a way out. Rumination is repetitive thinking about past events or negative emotions. It differs from problem solving because it goes in circles without resolution. Research shows that directly trying to stop ruminating actually strengthens the thought pattern. It's like telling yourself, don't think about a pink elephant. The key is not to fight the thoughts, but to change your relationship with them through pattern interruption and attentional pivoting. When caught in a rumination loop, try this 5-3-1 technique. First, name 5 things you can see right now. This activates your visual cortex. Next, physically move to a different location, even if just across the room. Then engage in 3 minutes of an absorbing activity requiring focus, like counting backward from 100 by sevens. Finally, choose one productive action related to the problem if possible, or completely unrelated if not. This technique works because it doesn't try to suppress thoughts. It redirects the brain's extraordinary attention resources towards something else. Your mind is like water. It needs to flow somewhere. Give it a constructive channel. Remember those nights when you can't sleep because your mind keeps replaying that embarrassing thing you said 3 years ago? That's rumination, and it's something we all experience. My brain at 3 a.m. Hey, remember that time in 2012 when you called your teacher mom by accident? Let's analyze that in excruciating detail for the next 2 hours instead of sleeping. Thanks, brain. Super helpful. Chapter 4: The Spotlight Effect. Did you know there's a psychological phenomenon that makes you feel like everyone is staring at your flaws, when in reality they barely notice them? This mental trick has caused more unnecessary suffering than almost any other. The spotlight effect is our tendency to overestimate how much others notice and care about our appearance, actions, and mistakes. Cornell University research demonstrated this when they asked students to wear embarrassing t-shirts. The wearers vastly overestimated how many people actually noticed. This happens because we're the center of our own universe, aware of every detail about ourselves. But everyone else is the center of their own universe too, primarily focused on themselves. Think about that time you made a small mistake during a presentation. It felt enormous to you. Maybe you're still cringing about it. But ask yourself, can you remember the small mistakes others made in their presentations? Probably not, because you were too busy thinking about your own performance. That's the spotlight effect in action. The same principle applies to your perceived flaws. Understanding the spotlight effect is incredibly liberating. It frees you from the imaginary jury you've created in your mind, allowing you to focus on what matters rather than how you appear. Most of the judgment you feel is coming from inside the house. We've all had that moment of panic when we think everyone is staring at our stained shirt, misspoken word, or awkward interaction. The relief comes when we realize most people didn't even notice. My brain, everyone at this party, noticed you used the wrong fork, and they're all silently judging your complete lack of cultural refinement. Reality: everyone at the party is wondering if they're using the right fork and worrying about their own cultural refinement. We're all just forks in the road people. Chapter 5: Third-person self-talk. What if I told you that simply changing how you talk to yourself, literally changing the pronoun from I to your name, could significantly reduce anxiety and improve decision-making? This tiny linguistic shift has profound effects. Third-person self-talk involves referring to yourself by name or as you rather than I during internal dialogue. Research from Michigan State University shows this creates psychological distance from intense emotions, allowing you to see situations more objectively. When you say, I can't handle this, you're fused with the feeling. But when you say, Peter can handle this, you activate the same brain regions used for advising friends, accessing your rational thinking. Next time you face a challenge, notice your self-talk. If you catch yourself thinking, I'm going to fail at this, pause and rephrase, Peter has faced challenges before and found ways through them. This simple shift activates your prefrontal cortex, the wise advisor part of your brain, rather than the emotional limbic system. This technique essentially gives you access to your own wisdom on demand. It's like having a personal coach who knows all your strengths and capabilities, available exactly when you need objective guidance. The way you speak to yourself creates your reality. Think about how easily you can see solutions for friends that they can't see for themselves. This technique lets you access that same clarity for your own challenges. Ever notice how we talk to ourselves in ways we'd never talk to another person? You absolute disaster, how could you forget your keys again? Meanwhile, if a friend forgot their keys, you'd say, no worries, happens to everyone. Your inner voice apparently skipped all the lessons on basic manners. Ready to make your life easier in a world full of challenges? Join our YouTube membership for exclusive perks like early access to scripts, input on future topics about productivity, and connect with a like-minded community that gets it. Click join below and let's build your easier, more intentional life together. Chapter 6. Mental Contrasting. What if I told you that positive thinking alone actually reduces your chances of achieving goals? The missing ingredient is something psychologists call mental contrasting. Mental contrasting is a psychological technique that combines positive visualization with obstacle anticipation. Dr. Gabriele Oettingen's research shows that purely positive visualization feels so good that it reduces the energy to actually pursue goals. Effective mental contrasting follows a specific sequence. First, vividly imagine your desired outcome and its benefits. Then, deliberately identify the most likely obstacles you'll face. Finally, create specific if-then plans for those obstacles. Let's say you want to exercise regularly. First, visualize how you'll feel after establishing this habit, the energy, confidence, and health benefits. Then identify your likely obstacles. I'll probably feel too tired after work, or I might prioritize other tasks. Now create specific if-then plans. If I feel too tired after work, then I'll just do 10 minutes and reassess. Or if I'm tempted to skip for other tasks, then I'll remind myself that exercise actually improves my productivity. This balanced approach harnesses optimism's motivational power while preparing you for real-world challenges. It's the difference between wishful thinking and strategic planning. Hope for the best, plan for the obstacles, and you'll be unstoppable. How many times have you started something with great enthusiasm, only to abandon it when unexpected obstacles appeared? Mental contrasting gives you the foresight to navigate these inevitable challenges. Pure positive thinking is like planning a road trip by only looking at the destination photos and ignoring the maps. I'm going to the beach. It'll be amazing. And then somehow, you're surprised when your car runs out of gas in the middle of nowhere because you forgot to check how far it actually was. But the brochure didn't mention gas stations. Chapter 7. Building Antifragility. What if you could build a life that doesn't just survive stress, but actually becomes stronger because of it? This is the principle of antifragility, and it's incredibly useful. Antifragility is a property of systems that gain from disorder, uncertainty, and stressors, the opposite of fragility. The concept was pioneered by Nassim Taleb, who observed that some things benefit from shocks. Your muscles grow stronger from the stress of exercise. Your immune system gets more robust from exposure to germs. Similarly, your psychological systems can become more resilient through calculated challenges, not by avoiding all stress. To build antifragility, Start introducing voluntary discomfort into your routine. Take cold showers for 30 seconds. Practice fasting for a day. Have difficult conversations you've been avoiding. These controlled stressors build your capacity to handle unexpected challenges. Create systems with redundancy, multiple ways to achieve important goals, so no single point of failure exists. Antifragility transforms your relationship with challenges. Instead of seeing stress as something to avoid, you recognize it as the stimulus for growth, like how a vaccine works. The obstacle is not in your way. It is the way. Think about how many of your proudest achievements came from periods of challenge rather than comfort. That's anti-fragility in action. You've already experienced it. My comfort zone is like my favorite old sweatshirt. It feels amazing. Looks terrible. And if I never take it off, I'm going to miss out on everything good in life. But it's so comfy. Yes, and so is quicksand right before it swallows you whole. Chapter 8. The Stockdale Paradox. How did some prisoners of war survive years of captivity while others gave up hope? The answer contains a powerful paradox that can help you through your darkest times. The Stockdale Paradox is named after Admiral Jim Stockdale, who survived over 7 years as a prisoner of war in Vietnam. When asked how he endured, Stockdale revealed a counterintuitive truth. You must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality. In other words, maintain unwavering faith that you'll overcome eventually while simultaneously facing the harsh truth of your present situation. The optimists who said we'll be out by Christmas repeatedly had their hopes crushed and eventually lost heart. When facing a prolonged challenge, like recovering from a major illness, navigating a career setback, or enduring a painful life transition, apply the Stockdale Paradox. Acknowledge the difficulty. This is genuinely hard, and I don't know how long it will last. But simultaneously affirm, I am absolutely committed to finding a way through this, no matter how long it takes. This balanced perspective prevents both delusional optimism and crushing despair. This paradox provides a sustainable psychological framework for enduring extended hardship. It keeps hope alive without the brittleness of false timelines or expectations. Courage isn't the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. We all face seasons where there's no quick fix or easy answer. The Stockdale Paradox offers wisdom for those long journeys through uncertainty. My optimistic brain during challenges, don't worry. This will all be fixed by next Tuesday at 3:17 p.m. exactly. And then when Wednesday comes and everything's still a mess, it's like, new prediction Friday at noon, this time for sure. Maybe we should stop trying to be psychics and just focus on being resilient instead. Chapter 9. Constructing your personal resilience system. What if instead of bouncing from crisis to crisis, you had a comprehensive system that made you naturally resilient? Let's build that system right now. A personal resilience system integrates multiple techniques into a cohesive framework that becomes your default operating system during challenges. The key is regular practice during calm periods, not just emergencies. Your system should address 4 domains: physiological regulation, how you manage your body's stress response; cognitive framing, how you interpret events; behavioral patterns, what you actually do; and social connections, how you engage with others. This multidimensional approach ensures you're not relying on willpower alone. Start building your system with these components. For physiological regulation, practice the 4-7-8 breathing technique daily. Inhale 4 counts, hold 7, exhale 8. For cognitive framing, use third-person self-talk and the Stockdale Paradox. For behavioral patterns, implement the 90-second rule and mental contrasting. For social connection, identify 3 to 5 people who form your support network. Schedule weekly practice of these techniques so they become automatic when you need them. This systems approach transforms resilience from a personality trait to a cultivated skill. Like a well-designed machine, Your resilience system works even when parts of it are under stress. Systems quietly outperform willpower every single time. We often admire resilient people as if they were simply born that way. But the truth is, resilience is built through consistent practice and intentional design. Building resilience is like installing an operating system update for your brain, except instead of slowing your computer down and adding features you'll never use, it actually helps you run better. Also, there's no annoying "Remind Me Tomorrow" button that you'll click for the next 6 months. These 10 tools don't just help you survive difficult times. They transform your relationship with challenges entirely. The 90-second rule shows you that emotions are temporary. Cognitive reframing helps you see opportunities and setbacks. Your emotional first aid kit gives you practical resources. Breaking rumination frees your mind from negative loops. Understanding the spotlight effect releases you from needless self-consciousness. Third-person self-talk accesses your inner wisdom. Mental contrasting balances optimism with preparation. Antifragility turns stressors into strengtheners. The Stockdale paradox provides sustainable hope. And your personal resilience system integrates everything into a powerful whole. Remember, these aren't techniques to use once and discard. They're practices to integrate into your life, creating a foundation of resilience that serves you through any challenge. The tools you've learned today will find you when you need them most, because you've planted them in your mind, ready to emerge exactly when required. Your resilience isn't measured by avoiding storms, but by how you dance in the rain. Start by choosing just one technique from today that resonated most. Practice it deliberately for 1 week. Notice what changes. Then add another. Building resilience is a journey, not a destination. And it begins with a single step. Take that step today. And hey, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Also, let me know your thoughts on what I just shared. Oh, and there's more. I've just started a Patreon to help support these videos and connect with you more directly. Check out the link in the description if you'd like to join.